Good morning, travelers. Today is February 9th, 2019. I can't even believe that. It's crazy, isn't it? We're going to do an open reading. I'm going to be using the Radiant White deck. It's not the deck I really wanted to use, but this is the deck that told me, take me out. So I took it out. We will be clarifying with La Vida Sibila. We will also be using the playing cards, and then I will also be using the Neapolitans. I have not used these in quite some time. And then we will wrap the reading up with Psychic Oracle Tarot. A few things before I get started. Website members, those of you of the Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer persuasion, your romance readings are posted, and I want to thank you so much for your patience for waiting around for me to get those up. I'm going to start working on the March readings because the week of the 20th, I have to go out of town. I'm going to be out of town, and I'm not exactly sure how long I'm going to have to be gone. I am working on some articles for you. I know I'm way behind, and I cannot apologize enough for that. Make sure that you are signed up for the newsletter. I used to send out one every Sunday. I've kind of fallen out of the habit, but that's not because I don't have anything to say. It's because I've just been so busy. And so there are a lot of changes happening for me in my personal life. And of course, as I always try to tell you, when one area of your life kind of takes over, everything else has to fall to the wayside, so to speak. So it's difficult to maintain that balance. If I don't feel well energetically or feel strong enough, or I'm very tired, I don't like to produce any work because that's the energy that I'll be bringing to the work, and I don't like to do that. I have to try to remain as open and clear as I possibly can to bring you guys the messages that are in the highest good for those of you who need to hear them. Speaking of which, to the person who emailed me last night, you did it through support desk. So for all of you in future out there, if you want to come over and leave me a message or talk about something or ask a question, please go to the shout out and comment section. But to the person who wrote me last night, who emailed me, lifelong supporter is what you put as your email address. And it don't make a difference that y'all are trying to hide your email addresses. I got your IP address. That's what I do on the back of my website. So I wanted to tell you, thank you for sharing that story with me about the star card. I did a reading, I don't know when it was, the other day, and I kept telling you guys, the star's trying to tell me something. But I couldn't pull up what it was. A lot of times, I think, you have your detractors when you're in this work. You have people who will try to come in and trick you or lie to you to say that you're fake, or try to trip you up to see how good your abilities are. But what a lot of people don't understand is that, at least for me personally speaking, there are things sometimes that I am shown or that I am told that I do not understand, that I cannot connect with how it works, and I don't have the words to explain it. And so it was so funny to me when the person wrote to me and explained to me what happened and how that star card came into play for them. Because what I kept seeing was a light go on and off with the star. And the way I read that was that it was trying to tell me something, but I couldn't, I wasn't supposed to know what that was. So it was so funny that you wrote me, and I'm so glad that made sense to you. And that helped you. And that's why I remember saying, I think, somebody out there is going to know what this means. And so do not assume, and if you are a card reader, another card reader, a novice card reader, and you're watching this video, you're lurking around on my channel, don't allow people to make you second guess the way that your intuition works. Okay? People are like, God, I want to read cards like you. You're never going to read cards like me. And I'm not saying that to be conceited, but you're not going to be able to read cards like me because my intuition is different from yours, right? So it's important to have your own spiritual court. It is important to maintain those connections and to keep yourself clear. I think what I'm going to do is bring back my spirit guide reading. I did that some years ago, where using the Akashic Records, I go in and identify your spirit guides for you and tell you what the prompts are. And this way you can make that connection. And the reason why I brought this up was because I did an Akashic Records readings for somebody probably 3 years ago. And he came back and said he was having trouble accessing his spirit guides. And he wasn't sure if they were even his spirit guides that were speaking to him. And so I did the reading for him. And I identified one of his spirit guides as a squirrel named Rollo. He kind of scoffed at that idea. And then I said, well, here's how you know, here's how you can test that theory. Okay? Because when I go into the Akashic Records, I go in, that is really the only cold reading that I do. So when I go into the Akashic Records for you and I come back with information, I'm going to tell you some things that you never mentioned to me, depending on what the guides want me to know. I'm going to explain to you how all of those things happen. And I may even ask you some questions. Do you have this, that, or the other? People are always astounded at the information that I come back. But the reason why I say it's a cold reading is because I have no clue if what I'm coming back with is really real or not. And what I mean by that is I trust the information that the guides are giving me, but in terms of me dealing with you, I don't know if any of this information that I give you out of the Akashic Records is accurate. Okay, so it is truly the only cold reading that I give. And when I say cold, I mean cold. Okay, so but it has never, it's never been wrong, ever. I don't think there's one person who's gotten Akashic Records reading from me that can say, you know, that information is incorrect. And sometimes I come back with stuff that people have forgotten. Okay, and that's how sensitive those readings are. But anyway, I gave the guy the reading and I said, you know, one of your spirit guides is a squirrel and his name is Rollo. And he scoffed. And I said, well, here's how you can test it out. I said, the next time you have a question, you know, go outside and find yourself a quiet place to sit down for a second. Pose your question to the universe and ask for a sign or an answer. And I guess about 2 weeks went by and he emailed me back. He says, oh my God. He said, I didn't believe you when you said it was a squirrel. He said, but I did what you said. I went out, I sat outside, I posed my question. He said, and I was sitting on the bench. He said, and a squirrel just ran up to me and it sat down in front of me. And I said, was that your yes answer? He said, yes, it was my yes answer. So I think I'm going to bring that reading back. I think it helps people to be able to discern really where their information is coming from. Sometimes that connection is broken or it is damaged, you know, depending upon certain situations. But the truth of the matter is, you don't have to be a psychic. Everybody has intuition. Everybody has spirit guides. Everybody has a connection with the higher self. And so it is learning to trust that information that you're getting and not second guessing it. So with that being said, oh, my friend Kate finished my rosaries. I have several. She sent me 2 and there's a couple more. I'm going to be writing up an article. I don't know if you can see that. It is one with an owl on it. And this is more of a what's known as a chaplet. It's not a very long one. She sent me 2. She sent me one for my Santa Muerte, my Madrina statue. And I gave it to her. And it is absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to be taking close-ups of these and posting pictures to the website. Hopefully those pictures are going to come out. Since I've done the upgrade, I'm losing a lot of my media associated with some of my posts. And I'm going to be writing an article on how to set up an altar. It doesn't need to be expensive and or elaborate. And you can set it up simply for yourself, a prayer altar, or you can choose a particular saint or deity that you resonate with. Altars are very personal, and you have to do what Spirit tells you to do in terms of setting up your altar, but I can give you the idea of how to set up a basic altar. you know, you don't need a lot. So I have one working altar because my space is so, actually I have two. I have one set up here on my kitchen table. This is the one that, the altar that I use for reading cards. And then I have a personal altar in which I do all of my other altar work. So these are spells, these are prayers, these are road openings, these are assistance and guidance. And so that one's set up a different way. So I will give you the basics on how to do that. And then you can go from there. You will be free to ask me any questions. So you can email me, or not email me, but you can ask your questions underneath the article should you have any. A lot of you, I notice, I go in the back, you don't access the metaphysical gallery, you don't, you know, and so there are lots of things in there. You can go in there and you know, watch and ask questions. There's tons of articles. So know that there is no right way and no wrong way. The information that I give you is information to help you formulate the best way to employ your work that works for you. Okay? So with that being said, I'm going to put my... And we're going to lay the cards. People, March is going to be busy. Mercury goes retrograde. Uranus moves back into Taurus. That's going to be a big one. What else is happening? There's some other stuff that's going on, and I haven't had a chance to open up my astrology software and take a look. So I'm trying to catch up. I will be writing out a few articles. So get your charts. Take a look. For those of you who have already had your transit tutorial, you should know how to set that up to look at things for yourself. If you're interested in learning how to do that, to watch the transits yourself, you can purchase. I have the transit tutorial on the website. You can purchase it, and I walk you through. I teach you how to do it. That's a phone reading. It's about an hour and 30-minute long. Where we go over your charts together. We look at a few things, and then I show you how to watch the transits for yourself. You do have your ebook there to help you. And I had the hour-long reading on sale, but I'm going to put the 45-minute reading on sale. So by the time you read this, that's going to be set up on the website for you. If you'd like to purchase a reading or join for membership, you can click on this eye, and that'll take you right over to the website. So, with that being said, let's lay the cards. Two of Swords. Knight of Cups. Well, that's interesting. I know y'all hear me say that all the time, but it's so true. Oh, look, and there's the Star card. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Five of Pentacles. Uh-oh. A Knight of Swords. And the reason why I went, uh-oh, is because the two knights have shown up. And there's the Fool card. Well. And both of these cards are related to each other, the Star and the Fool, through Uranus. And this is a 2-week time frame reading period. However, depending on where you are and what your story is, some of you, this has already started and may have occurred. Some of you might be in the middle of it, and for some of you, this is coming up. To gain any insight whatsoever into your own personal reading, into your own situation, requires a personal reading. Wow, the Death card. The Six of Cups. This is going to be an interesting story. The cards are already talking. Oh, wow. And there's a King of Swords. Ah, well, this person is heavily Uranian. And if not an Aquarian, then a Libra. For sure. Heavily so. The Empress. Well, I have 3 court cards here. At the very least, there are 3 people involved in this. The very least. There's messages and news. But these are events. That's how they always show up. Now, how do these events, they don't just happen in a vacuum. The event occurs because you get some kind of news or message, even an offer sometimes coming in. For some of you, there's a lot of directionality happening here. And by directionality, I mean the way that things are faced, or the way they're situated on the card. And there's a lot of, well, it's kind of not necessarily equal. There are 3 cards facing to the past or to the west. The west is associated with endings. There's our death card. And then there is 1, 2, 3 cards, 4 cards face to the east or to the future. These are started with new beginnings. Okay, the east is starting with beginnings. That's the way, the direction where the sun rises, the new day, it's the start. Now, I don't have any repeater numbers. I have a 2, a 5, and a 6. But I have 1, 2, 3 major arcana cards. So 3 major arcana cards and 3 court cards. And then I have 1, 2, 3 swords, 2 cups, a pentacle. That's it. There are no wands here. Over the whole reading is the Empress. Now, the reason something just kind of leaped out at me, because she represents Venus. Okay? Venus is, or you can look at her as Ceres. For those of you who have your astrological, your Roman god ebooks, Ceres was the goddess of agriculture. Okay? She was a mother. She was also related to Jupiter. And we have Jupiter in play right now, and which would make her, I think, the granddaughter of Uranus. I'm not exactly sure. I can't off the top of my head. But she is known for abundance, planting, growing, and the fullness thereof. It is about the birth of things. She typically represents the time frame of summer. In this particular reading card, the Empress is pregnant, but she surveys those 12 stars over her, in her crown, represent the 12 signs, but also the constellation of Pleiades. Her glyph of the heart, but also that symbol there is the hand mirror. So she reflects back to us the beauty and the harmony of life and of things. She represents right relationships. Typically, you'll look at Venus and she speaks about, most people think that she's the goddess of love and beauty. Well, she rules all things beautiful, okay? But she also represents values and value systems. We treasure those things and we care for those things that we find most beautiful to us, or that bring us the most pleasure, right? But there's a dark side to Venus and the Empress, and that can be the idea that she can be emotionally manipulative. She can be quite selfish. In the myth, her lover Mars, who is in play at the moment, and he's doing a bunch of stuff. They had a child together, Cupido. She cheated on her husband. She was considered the ultimate femme fatale. Men fell at their feet for Venus. And so she would, use that to her advantage. So she can be vain. But yet she knows who she is. And I think she makes no apologies for it. Right, wrong, or indifferent. Now, this Five of Pentacles is interesting to me. One of the very, very old interpretations, 14th century Etiella. This card, typically in the olden days, back then, some of the meanings of the cards was the wife, the girlfriend, and or the mistress. Basically, and another interpretation was the idea of someone that you can count on in times of trouble. But just looking at the imagery of the card, this is someone who, due to some kind of circumstance, outside influences, is feeling out in the cold, isolated, alone, lack, scarcity, poverty, wandering around in the snow, but so caught up in whatever it is that they're going through or whatever it is they've lost, that they walk completely by help and assistance, even if it's just a quick respite. Fives always speak to outside influences bringing in change. It's a tension number, okay? For some of you, this could be a financial issue. I know that we are waiting around to see if we're going to have another government shutdown. And the funny thing is, did none of y'all that work in the government thought y'all was going to be affected by that shit until you tried to get some services that the government handles a lot of things. And then all of a sudden you realize your shit's held up because there's nobody behind the computer to do those things. So that's why I always talk to you when I'm speaking to you about astrology. What happens on a global scale will happen on a country scale, on a state scale, on a city scale, on a county scale. Eventually it trickles down to affect you in some way. Everything is interconnected. Now, for some of you, there's something that you've been hoping or wishing for, and you get news that either the answer is no, or you find out that whatever this thing is, it's coming to an end. And just because this is a no or it's coming to an end doesn't necessarily mean that all is lost, okay? What it means is it's opening the way for something new. Now, typically 2 nights in a spread will speak to a slight concern in regards to a new romance or relationship or something to do with a male friend. You doubt the sincerity of a male friend. We see this male person sitting here. Okay? If this person is not heavily Aquarian or Libran, that air energy, then what we're dealing with is the actual stance of the individual. Okay? Detached, perhaps a bit cold, very logical, very reasoning, does not allow sentiment to enter into shit. If it doesn't make sense to him, he's not having it. As a profession, this guy can be anybody who works with where a lot of intelligence, perhaps in technology and research is done. But he can be a doctor, a surgeon, a dentist, a police officer, a soldier, a chef, a writer, an editor, someone, a scientist. It is this Knight of Swords in the center because he is really booking it. He's booking it. He's flying across this open expanse of this landscape. See how the clouds are at an angle? So this can be news coming in a hurry, but sometimes this news, being a swords, is double-edged. Now, this Two of Swords, intuition, insight, stand still. Why? Because I don't see what it is I need to see, and I don't know what it is I think I need to know to make a decision. Twos always speak to choices, options, dualities, decisions. So this tells me that there's a decision that needs to be made. Some of you feel as though you are making the decision in the blind. Some of you have made a decision and now you are fearful of what this means for you. Some of you didn't see something coming, so you did, because not making a decision is also a decision. Some of you did not move when you should have. And that was the result. Even kings fall from grace. This is what I'm getting. See that king? He's dead. Even kings fall from grace. In other words, there is no power on the face of the earth that is stronger than the power of death. It can't be reasoned with. It can't be bargained with. It can't be tricked. It can't be cajoled. It can't be bribed. All things come to an end. But this card also says it is, okay, a rebirth. There are those two towers there that we see in the moon card. But instead of it being dark and fearful, now we see everything quite clearly. But it comes about through death, through an ending, through some kind of transformation. I feel that for some of the number 7 keeps coming up. 7 stars here. Here is the cup held by the knight with the 7 cups. This is 4 swords. They're both holding roses. So I don't know what that means. Some of you may know what that means. Sun in the sunlight. So going back to directionality, it's like you move through one thing, but then you have to go back through another, and then you have to reverse course and start over again. This card can sometimes, remember that meaning that I said, someone that you can count on in times of trouble here. But I don't think for some of you this person has presented themselves yet. For others of you, you know this person. It is the energy of childhood. So this card can even be the soulmate card, but I always caution you guys about soulmate energy. We have many different soulmates in our life. We have contracted with them to meet up again in this incarnation to work out the different lessons or the past karma that is held between us. It does not mean that that person is supposed to stay in your life forever, because the truth is they won't, and nor will you. At some point, death comes for us all. This card is associated with communities and neighborhoods and primary education, or education from kindergarten to high school. It speaks to neighbors. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because this card can speak to childhood. So this could be your childhood home, your childhood town, where you came from. So some kind of news, perhaps coming from home, or this could be the idea that this individual has to go do something related to home and childhood. There very well could possibly be a passing in the family. Maybe a mother or a mother-like figure. Those of you who know anything about tarot card readings, we don't read the death card really as a death card, but you cannot rule that out. The message that keeps coming from the death card is even kings pass away. I don't know what that means, something to someone out there. But I think on the mundane level, this is speaking about some kind of power. Okay? Keep that in mind. It may not necessarily mean the actual passing or death of someone. We're talking about a power. Kings are powerful. They hold position. They have status. They have wealth. So it is not necessarily about the actual person. It is the concept of power. That's the second message that's coming through. There's a lot of water here at the top, and then suddenly the landscape changes here. And this is what I find to be most, for some of you, this ending is coming and you don't see it yet. Now that's, and I don't want to say that like to frighten you, but sometimes we're not meant to know ahead of time what's coming. Trust that all things come to an end. So no matter what situation you find yourself in, it is not going to stay that way forever. It is the luminaries, the star, and the stars are not a luminary. They are luminaries, but they're not the two luminaries are the sun and the moon. So this could be the new moon in Aquarius that we just had, just a few days ago, on the 4th. This speaks to the astrology of something. Maybe some kind of conjunction or some kind of square or some kind of opposition. Twos represent oppositions. Sometimes being opposed within yourself or someone actively opposing you. Whatever this thing is for you, whatever energy this is for you, something is coming or something is going to occur that's going to knock you out of that reverie. See how the energy is traveling backwards? It's almost like you're going to be broadsided or hit. And the reason why I say you don't see it coming is because his eyes are closed. He's looking all up in the sky. And there's a blindfold. And here you just got your head down. Okay, just putting one foot in front of the other. But it's these butterflies on the back of his... butterflies represent the soul. Or the ego, and the Romans believed that when death came, the soul would transmute into a butterfly and it would fly off. That's the energy of Psyche. For those of you who have your Rum and God ebook, go back and look at the meaning of psyche. Read about psyche. So no matter how this plays out, we're speaking about a transformation of some sort. But I'm not able to piece together necessarily, because it's in flux. Oh, this Knight of Swords. Now, if this is a financial situation, maybe some of you have lost your job. Maybe some of you are you sent out a bunch of, what do you call it, resumes. You're hoping to get something back. And so far, it's been like crap. Your money's getting low. That will be coming to an end. These are 3 huge cards. Because the Fool also speaks to some kind of new beginning, but it's followed quickly by the Death card. If I had my druthers, I'd rather the cards be like this. Yeah? Because that ending comes and boom, it's a brand new day for you. But that's not how it's playing out. So in one respect, the Fool card is kind of warning you not to be foolish, to pay very, very close attention to what's going on. Let's look. The only cards I'm going to be able to look at are the 2 of Swords, the 5 of Coins, and the 6. I cannot look at these 3 court cards, and we're going to look at those pip cards as they relate to the Star, the Fool, and the Death card. This is what I'm saying to you when I tell you that even somebody who does this work every day, even I'm not supposed to know everything that's going to come, and tell you everything that's going to come. What I can do is alert you to something, to tell you to be more aware, so that you can access your own intuition. And sometimes this is what that card is talking about. It's that you are getting signs and signals, but you are not paying attention to them. Probably because you may be so caught up in the day-to-day shit that you got to do. So, let me take a look at this. We're going to start with the 2 of Swords. I'm going to give you the keywords to the 2 of Swords. If my thing's going to work. There we go. Okay. Calm expression, courage, friendship, concord, affection, communication, harmony, choices, indecision, stalemate, and stagnation. In its negative aspect, duplicity, falsehood, disloyalty, release, fear, worry, anxiety, stress, delays, postponement, and caution. Yeah. It tells me nothing about being with these 3 major arcana cards. So my next card is going to be the 5 of Pentacles. Poverty, helplessness, defeat, despair, low self-esteem, emotional problems, loneliness, troubled thoughts, financial security issues, anxiety, fear, desolation, self-sabotage, fear of success and failure, difficulties, low self-esteem, we already said that, and a lack of faith. Fear of success. I don't know what this is. And that's why this has come out the way that it is. You're fearful of succeeding in something, or something being successful as it relates perhaps maybe to your job, or your money, or how you're feeling about yourself. Let me take a look to see if what it says about it. Tells me nothing. Well, of course it doesn't. Six of Cups. Happiness, childhood, reminiscing, rewards, enjoyment, new environments, new employment, memories of the past, giving and receiving, serenity, and positive outcomes. That's the positive. The negative, renewal, living in the past, nostalgia, and delay, but it also speaks to the future. So, and it tells me nothing being next to any of these cards. Absolutely nothing. Let me take a look at these two nights for you, because I want to make sure that I give you the correct information. And then we're going to go to the Sabilas. Two nights indicate mixed messages or signals that cause you to doubt the sincerity of a male friend. Remember, this is about being fickle and unreliable, artifice, pretending to be something that they're not, swindling, duplicity, and fraud. That's a reverse meaning of that night. That's why I always tell you, people show up as night energies, you know, step lightly. This says a messenger, an invitation, arrival, approach, propositions, enticements, temptation, imagination, quiet grace, proposal, enthusiasm, fresh ideas, sentiment, and romance. But isn't this funny? They relate to people born 29th of January to the 3rd of February. That cusp of Pisces and Aquarius. But there's a conflict here, because we see that person, that he hasn't stepped over that divide yet. And maybe this is coming from inside you as well. Let's go to the Sabilas, because I really don't know who this King of Swords is and how he comes into play, and what this Empress has to do with the whole situation. To me, if I were going to look at this Empress, I would say that this is the birth of something, not a kid. This is it's pregnant with possibility. It is the birth, but there's no guarantee how that harvest is going to come in. You know, did we tend our crops well? Sometimes series can be about going on strike. Somebody ain't acting right, ain't doing right. There's something wrong with the situation. This is she just doesn't do anything at all. Okay, she goes off and does her own thing. Please refer to your Roman Guide ebooks and read upon the myth of Ceres. There's an article there on Ceres. Just type in Ceres, C-E-R-E-S, in the website search box, and that'll bring up all of the articles associated with her. We're going to look at this Two of Swords. Superbia. Costanza. Two death cards, and the Morte. Now, Superbia is typically translated as vanity, pride, haughtiness, hubris. Remember I said, you don't need nobody. Costanza, the unchanging nature of the situation. And the morte, a complete and utter separation from the situation. So we have 2 death cards. But the Superbia can also be about success and pride and someone showing you their true colors. Typically, this is the Juno card for me. Juno's symbol is the peacock. Right relationships is what Juno is all about, as is Ceres. But Ceres is right relationships in terms of sharing things with people. Juno says, I am the queen, and that's all there is to it. That king. I'm going to look at this Knight of Swords. This could also be the idea that hovering over all of the crap you got going on in your life, something is really about to change for you on many different levels. Emotionally, spiritually, mentally, financially, or physically. Because sometimes the Fool card is about going on a trip. It's about taking a risk and going on a trip. And getting there as fast as you possibly can. This almost reads something like a rescue to me. It really does. Some kind of rescue. At the last moment. You know, you're sending out your hopes and wishes into the universe. You know, you're trudging along, and then suddenly the rescue comes. I don't know how. This could be a close friend, someone from childhood, who's going to be able to step in and to help and assist you in some way. Why? Because you've been stubborn, that you can do it all your own. But in that energy, things are not moving the way that you want them to. You don't see, you know, whatever it is you need to see. And so you're struggling and you're stressed. Pensiero. L'amante, male. Speranza. Okay. Same-sex or heterosexual. Here is the message, the news, the visit, the trip, someone writing in quite suddenly. Pensiero, this is thought and meditation. The l'amante, this speaks to requited love. So remember when I was telling you this can be the soulmate, this can be the return of somebody. That's what that says. Typically, this is the return of someone. Speranza, there is the hope. Okay, but this card also reads as fear. Fearful that this person's going to be difficult to fucking deal with. Maybe the person lives at a distance. But there's also this hope. And I'm going to just go ahead and throw it out here that for some of you, whatever this is that you're hoping for, it's not going to play out the way that you want it to. Does that mean that you still can't be happy, or that you still can't avail yourself of all of the opportunities, the abundance, the wealth, the growth, the whatever it is that you're looking for or that you may need at the time? No, it does not mean that. I'm going to look at this death card. Now, you know I got to look at it. I normally don't pull cards on major arcanas. I just don't. They're kind of self-explanatory. There's all the messages and the news. The dispiacere, the tears. About some kind of shady ass character. This could be the man returning. Okay? This is the domestico. His job is to help and assist. Run errands, send out messages, help you. But now the question becomes, he also is known as a collaborator. Okay? But who's he collaborating with? Or is he out for himself? Okay? Power position. That's what that's telling me. So for some of you, this is someone that you know. This is someone, I think, who has probably just entered into your life, or it could be someone who has returned into your life. It's almost like they come back in, riding in to save the day, the knight on the white horse. And everything seems to be fine for the moment, but it is the stance of this card. So be careful what you are hoping and wishing for. Maintain your own cups and don't be foolish. Okay? You can indeed explore this with the person, but watch where you're stepping. I'm going to pull cards on this King of Swords. Then we're going to pull a few, I'm going to pull some playing cards on this King. And then I'm going to pull 3 Neapolitans. Desperate jealousy. Excessive attachment to a situation. And the message from far away. Hold it now. Holy shit. And the sacerdote. Now, I have 3 men here, or male cards. So for some of you, this could be 3 men converging at the same time. One of them you want to be cautious with. But it is the sacerdote, the priest, the counselor, the person that you can trust. This excessive attachment, again, there's these worry cards here. The dispiacere, this card, the 5 of Pentacles, the 2 of Swords. There's this worry energy here, and I'm really perplexed as to what it is that you're worried about, but you know that. There it is. Huh. I'm going to pull let me pull 3 cards on this 5 of Pentacles here. And stuck in the middle you are. This could be 2 different types of offers or proposals. I don't know. Jack of Hearts. That's another page, like a page of cups. A 5 of Clubs. And a 4 of Diamonds. This is somebody who has a good heart and is generous, but is unreliable and fickle. It says a warm-hearted friend, someone with water predominating their chart, perhaps, or may have a lot of planets on water houses. It's a young admirer of some sort, but because it's a page energy, page knight energy, it's still a fickle energy. The 5 of Clubs says new friendships and alliances are made. Remember I said it's like somebody comes in to save the day. This 4 of Diamonds, it says a financial upswing. So remember I was saying that there's some kind of abundance and growth. This could be on a financial sense. Why? Venus rules the 2nd house. And maybe this is the idea that you've been struggling financially and you've been fearful of something and you've been very, very worried about it, but somebody comes in to help you. But I still say this is a bit suspect. So let me, whenever I see him show up, the domestico, I like to caution people to be a bit careful. Not to scare you or freak you out, but just to be, honestly, if this is somebody that you don't know well, somebody who's new into your sphere, you know, practice a little caution. It's common sense. 10 of Spades. 2 of Clubs. and the 9 of diamonds. This is some kind of ending where there was a financial kind of a thing and maybe some jealousy over it. This could be somebody like literally stabbing you in the back in some way, shape, or form. This speaks to tragic endings, especially when you are not ready to let go. And what this card is saying here, it's saying that you really need to let this go. Now, the, what's his name? Makes sense to me. Whoever this person was, his energy is hanging around and you don't want to let it go. 2 of clubs. Tell you this 10 of spades. Hold on one second. The 10 of spades says worry and bad news. We see it there. With the 2 of clubs, it speaks to obstacles to success and some kind of malicious gossip for some of you. But this 9 of diamonds is coming in to tell you it speaks to a new business deal, travel, and or restlessness, or a change of residence. Well, whatever that means, it's a transformation of a situation. I'm going to pull cards on this. And then I'm going to pull 3 Neapolitans. We're going to close this out with a, because I'm sure this is way longer than I wanted it to be. It always is. But sometimes that's what I have to do. So I hope this entertains you on a Saturday morning. 4 of clubs. 6 of clubs. And the 4 of spades. Which is like 4 swords. Isn't that something? These cards, I'm telling you, sometimes they be... What does this tell you? Beware of dishonesty or deceit and avoid blind acceptance of others at this time. But there's also this idea, and this is in a past position, so it's also this idea of new friendships, and this is a 6. It speaks to financial aid or success. But this 4 says that we are worried about it and we are at personal lows. Now, I don't know. I think this is speaking for both you and this individual here. And it's 2 4s in this spread. And 2 4s. Give me a second. 2 4s says money pours. Yes, that's what I'm screaming. So, you know, maybe this is the idea that you're waiting on some news from some kind of, I don't know, doctor visit or assessment of something. But it also says that right now things are rather shaky. Emotions, determination, finances, or the actual doing of. Thoughts, passion and desire. And again, this, because this 9 is like a wish card. This 9 of diamonds. Okay? Let me read it to you. And it speaks to offers and proposals. I'm telling you, somebody's going to put something to you. But I want you to be careful. Because there's a lot riding on this. And it's, remember I said, it's like your whole life. There's a big change coming that's going to encompass every single area of your life. Now, what does this mean? Look, I don't know. I just read damn cards, okay? I don't think this is a bad spread. I don't think that... I just don't think it'll be easy. Pull 3 cards. 3 of Wands. The 4 of Pentacles. and the Five of Cups. You know, it's almost like the cards are saying, in a sense, success is not all it's cracked up to be. But we also know threes are the start of something, right? Make a decision to go ahead and go forward. The four tells me that there's something, we've got these fours here. Yes, there will be financial, perhaps increase or growth coming in. And if not necessarily finances, this could be some kind of increase and growth on another level. But it speaks to, there's four fours here now. So it really speaks to something solid. But then here's this Five of Cups. And it may come through the idea that you're going to have to get rid of somebody in your life in order to get whatever it is that you want. Let me see what 4 4s say. 3 5s. That's upheavals and changes. The 10 definitely tells me with this Death card, it's come out twice. Something is coming to an end. And I think some of you are having extreme difficulty in letting this go. For whatever reason. I don't know what y'all are talking about here. 4 4s speak to a secure foundation. The 3 5s speak to 3 5s, 2 5s. Speak to personal challenges. Do I have 3 5s here? No, I don't. Well, I will tell you, this is tricky. I'm not going to lie to you. This is tricky. Now, y'all know I don't give financial advice because I'm not an accountant, a CPA, or a tax lawyer. I don't give medical advice because I'm not a doctor. Okay? And I don't give legal advice. But what I can do is look at the energies that surround this situation for you. Ultimately, you're going to be responsible for contacting the appropriate professionals, and then based upon that, your intuition, making the best decision for yourself. Something's changing. I don't know what this is. One question, please, for the Psychic Oracle Tarot. Maybe this will give us a bit of, I don't know, comfort, clue. Definitely something we'll need to hear. Wow. Wow. Are you ready? It is the 9 of Cups, fulfillment of wishes. Now, what I did, I went back and found a particular card out of the Sibilas. The sacerdote, the priest, the counselor, the learned man. See that dude standing there with them scrolls? Knowledge and skill. Some kind of hidden treasure, but something that really is available to you. But look, he's on a leaf. He's being balanced, and he's standing between 2 waterfalls. And that odd U shape, almost like a, what do you call that? A horseshoe. Let's read. That's why I was like, wow. That's really an awesome card to come out. The green border cards represents emotion. So these are our cups. Waterfalls. What do we know about waterfalls? Well, they are extremely powerful. It is a never-ending source. It starts somewhere, but it doesn't necessarily end there. The water falls off of the cliff and then it continues on. So this is like a continuation, but something is happening. You know, really. This card being one, if not the most positive of the minor arcana cards, the Nine of Cups, represents emotional satisfaction, contentment, and enjoyment. Your wishes are coming true. Are you ready yet? Happiness, success, good health, completion, and accomplishment of your goals and dreams are in the palm of your hand. This card acts as a reminder to hold on to the beneficial feelings from accepting and receiving what you've asked or strive for. Know that these will assist you in the future when you may need inspiration and positive energy. This is the right time to heal those past memories that have been holding you hostage. Forgive others and yourself so that your wishes, desires, and goals have a clear, unobstructed path to your heart, soul, and life. That's what all of those cards were saying. Remember I said there's something you're holding on to. You need to let it go. You've already sent it out into the universe, but some of you are fearful. You're either fearful of your whole life changing, something new coming in, okay, but at the same time while you're being fearful of that and second guessing it, you're blocking your own blessings, okay? So that's what I have for you. Until next time, namaste. Don't forget, the 45-minute reading is going to be on sale. Click that out. It'll take you right over. Bye.